spoken language at home is in English because of so many reasons. The sons and daughters born in Australia, so they have to communicate with them in English. And also they married a different group of nationalities. They have the common language is English. So this is the way the Australian Bureau of Statistics taking the census data. Many Tamils migrated from South Africa and Fiji speak only in Hindi and English at home. Contribution of Tamils to Australian economic development. Tamils living in Australia have been contributing to Australia's economic development through the efficient participation in range of professional fields, generally education, particularly technical and higher education. The good old proverb says, "Ennum elutthum kannenatthagum," has strongly established in almost every Tamil's mind. As a consequence, Tamils have demonstrated within India and overseas. They can be on the education frontier, whether it is technical or non-technical fields. The contribution of Tamils to Australia's economic development have been discussed in this paper by considering some of the selected fields due to the availability of data. These fields are education and research, health services, mining and manufacturing and administration. Education and research. இதை சொல்வதற்கு முன்னால் நாம் எல்லோரும் பட்டி தொட்டியெல்லாம் தமிழருக்கு கல்வி என்றும் விதை விதைத்த அந்த ஏழை தலைவராம் காமராஜரை இங்கே நினைவு கூற வேண்டும். அன்று அவர் விதைத்த விதைதான் இன்று நாம் எல்லோரும் அறுவடை செய்கிறோம். உலக நாடுகளிலே தமிழர்கள், தமிழ்நாட்டிலிருந்து செல்கின்ற மக்கள் எல்லோரும் கல்வியிலே பேராளர்களாகவும் நல்ல சிறந்த அறிவாளிகளாகவும் இருப்பதற்கு அவரை முக்கிய காரணம். Education and research. Tamil-speaking academics work as professors in universities across Australia and have published highly acclaimed research papers in many fields, including engineering, economics, information technology, science and health. Professor Vellivethiyar has worked as a professor of civil engineering at the University of New South Wales, and he has made an outstanding contribution in civil engineering over 40 years. At the age of 78, he is still working as an emeritus professor at the University of New South Wales. Professor Vijay Rangan of Madras, who is also a civil engineer, he is working in the University of Perth in Perth. He served the Standards of Australia Committee last 25 years. His valuable contribution on concrete structures still commendable. And Mr. Pratapan, who born in Sri Lanka, who was the first deputy vice chancellorship at the Northern Territory, University of Darwin. Another academic from Madras, Mr. Thamaraipu Sridhar, in Chennai, was appointed as Sir John Monash Distinguished Professor and Dean Faculty of Engineering in Melbourne. Mr. Palaniswamy from Namakkal, who was the Professor of Engineering, both of them served more than 30 years in Melbourne engineering sector, and their services was commendable by the government and other people. Many Tamil academics contributed to Australian education and economy. The Australian government community by no means withhold prize where it's due. Professor Srinivasan, he is head of neuroscience, Queensland Brain Research Institute, was awarded by the Australian Prime Minister's Award in 2006. The recent visit by Honorable Indian Minister for Fertilizers and Chemicals, Mr. M.K. Alagiri, to promote the mutual interest between Australia and India is seen as a welcome initiative approached by the Australian press. Information technology. Information technology is a key field where Tamils make significant contribution. It is generally spoken overseas that IT has two languages. One is English and other one is Tamil because of the large number of Tamils working in the area of IT in the different fields, banks, local government, electronic and telecommunication companies. The first Tamil person, Vish Padmanabhan, was the first Tamil Chief Information Officer with the Telstra. Telstra is a giant monopoly communication factory in Australia. Tamil students in Australia. Australia is becoming increasingly popular study destination. Students from around the world who wishing to gain top quality of education overseas. So, see table 1. The table 1 shows nearly Australia is getting 13.7 billion in 2008 which is that's large two-source number of them. If you look at that, India and Malaysia and China, three of them, China and India, the highest students, those who are coming to Australia. Both countries because of these two countries, Australia is getting 5.1 billion overseas dollars from both the countries. If you look at the table, the Indian students in 2009 is 67,974 students commencement started, and if you look at the Malaysia, 10,500 students. So these two are in this data. It is difficult to extract the data from this table, Tamil students studying in Australia, but we collected the information through universities. The estimated overseas students studying in Australia, 6,100 Tamil students, which includes Tamil students from Malaysia and Singapore. Most of the Tamil students enrolled as a postgraduate studies in information technology, engineering and manufacturing sector, and all the students have very good English knowledge. They don't have any problem in Australia, and over 90% of the Tamil students who complete the postgraduate degree in Australia and have become eligible for permanent resident status after the completion of the course. The second important is health service. 67,208 medical doctors served in the Australian population of 22 million people as per 2008 and 9 record. Of these medical practitioners, 2,100 doctors coming from Tamil origin. Majority of them work in private general practitioners, urban and rural and remote areas. The doctors' service in Australian community has been commended by Tamil Doctor Services has been commended by a number of local communities, and some of them raise in key positions within the medical community. To cite a few, Dr. Vasantha Preetham, who was graduated from Vellore Medical College at Tamil Nadu, was elected as the President of Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, which represent 35,452 general practitioners in Australia. Table 2 shows the proportion of the doctors coming from overseas. If you look at the table, that shows from England they are coming 6.3%, and India 5.4%, Malaysia and 5.1%. These three categories, most of the people are from Tamil origins. Dr. Nadnachandran, born in Sri Lanka, migrated to Australia about 35 years ago, working as a neurosurgeon at Canberra Hospital, every year he is helping the poor from India and as well as Sri Lanka. It is difficult to break down the Tamil doctors working in Australia who have migrated from India and countries such as Singapore, Sri Lanka, South Africa, Fiji. Nevertheless, in 2008, over 2,100 Tamil doctors were working in Australia, according to the data collected from the divisions of general practice between 2000 and 2009. Rural health services. People living in rural and remote Australia have less health access. Lack of equitable access in healthcare rural communities is a global issue. Indian doctors closen the gap between urban and rural areas. To cite a few, because the conference is in Coimbatore, I would like to say a few examples. Dr. Lakshmanan, who was born in Tirupur, was migrated to Australia about 40 years ago. He has been working as a general practitioner in a country town called Holbrook, which is about 500 kilometers from Sydney. He is highly regarded member of the local community. 3 generations of Holbrook community recognize his name. If anyone in that area, if you go and say Dr. Lakshman, they will immediately show where is his house and all. So, for his service in medicine to the rural community, he was awarded by the Order of Australia